Welcome back to my channel, Entrepreneurs. I'm delighted you're here for another episode in my Entrepreneurs Who Work From Home series, where I interview inspiring entrepreneurs from around the world who, just like you, are building their businesses one day at a time. Now, before we dive in, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. I'm getting close to that 500 number, and I'd love your support. Also, tap the notification bell so you never miss an episode, especially if you are looking for real-life strategies from fellow entrepreneurs, which is what happens when I interview them. So today's guest is Fallon Brice, who is a talented virtual assistant from Canada. You know, as entrepreneurs, we know that a great virtual assistant is invaluable, and Fallon really takes it a step further. She's also a dedicated community leader who helps streamline systems and creates sustainable workflows that support business growth. So be sure to stick around until the end to hear about her exclusive networking community designed to help women connect, grow, and promote their businesses. Now, in this interview, I know you'll gain insights into learning the value of organizing your time. Fallon's expertise in setting up customized systems for her clients, it's truly game-changing. You'll also learn how she sets boundaries to make time for fun and how she uses the tech tool Notion to keep her workflow efficient so she spends less time on busy work and more time on what matters. You know, she says many entrepreneurs are hesitant to hire a virtual assistant, but once they see how she implements her workflow systems, it really opens the door to more time, better organization, which in turn increases their revenue. You ready to dive into the world of workflow systems? Let's get started. I'm so excited for you to be here today in my Entrepreneurs Who Work From Home series. I think we have a lot in common that we're going to be talking about today. So welcome.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you.
Great. So I like to always kick off with the question about your daily routine, because I think as entrepreneurs who work from home, you know, daily routines can be mixed, or maybe for some of us, we can really get into what we do every day. How does it work for you?
Well, mine is definitely a mix. So I have two little ones at home and my husband works away. So it's definitely a juggling act, but it works out pretty well for me. I've worked at home since COVID, basically. So over the years, I've learned the tricks. I've learned all the things, right? So, I get up early in the morning before the kids get up. I get quite a bit of my work done then, get them ready get my one ready for school. My other one is 2, so she stays home with me, but we get him to school, come home, I put on a movie, get back to work for, a few hours. I usually in the beginning of the day, I concentrate on my clients, mostly because I'm a virtual assistant. So I concentrate on my clients, get their needs met at the beginning of the day so they can really move on and prioritize their days.
Right.
And then from there, depending kind of on how my kids' day goes, whether we have other things scheduled, I break up my day to kind of suit them. But nighttime is kind of my lonesome time. I get like a 2 solid hours to kind of work on my business and network with women and my Women Business Collective membership. And so it's definitely a juggling act.
It is, but it sounds like you've got it really organized. I mean, to have that couple of hours at night, it's pretty cool. You always know that's going to be there, right?
Yeah. Bedtimes are strict here because I need it.
Right.
Yeah.
That's good. And what about, I notice your beautiful living room here. What about your workspace setup? How does that work for you?
So it's funny because I don't actually have much of a designated workspace anymore. When my daughter was born, she kind of took my office. So, but one thing I do actually like from working from home is when I did have my office, I was always set up in there, which I do like when it comes to interviews or calls and stuff like that. I find that obviously very beneficial. But I am someone that likes to move around the house because I'm at home. I don't like that. Sometimes if I'm in an office all day, I feel back to my 9 to 5, right? I don't like that feeling of being like, I need to stay here. This is my workspace and this is where I sit. And the funny thing is I actually, depending, like in the mornings, I sit on the couch, I have a blanket, my dog cuddles me, I, go through emails. And then as the day goes on, I move to the kitchen table and that's kind of like a power station for me. I don't really know why. but I move around, and I actually really like that because it gives me that sense of freedom.
I think that's, I haven't heard that from anybody that I've been interviewing. And I think it sounds like you, except I did have one other interview where she did move around her house like you. But I do, I think you've really, I love the way you said that the kitchen's your power station, where you're going to get work done. And I think that's important as entrepreneurs who work from home. We have to be comfortable in our work environment, right? And I think when you figure that out for yourself, that's really marvelous. That's wonderful.
Yeah. And I think it's an experiment for people too, because there are some people who get distracted easily, right? Yeah. So if you know that about yourself, just being aware of what you need, I think is huge.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
well, distractions are one of our biggest challenges as entrepreneurs who work from home. What are your biggest challenges?
So my biggest challenge is probably one thing that I've actually struggled with for a long time is knowing my work is here. I'm the type of person, I'll work all day. I'll have my laptop open all day. And there's days I still do this. I feel like I'm still learning this, but I've tried to start setting up boundaries. Like, for example, on Friday afternoons, I shut it down at a certain time and I don't touch my computer. And that's like my new rule. That's my family time. That's my fun time, whatever it may be. And then on weekends, I really try. There's the odd weekend. If I know my week's going to be crazy, I might schedule some stuff in on a weekend. But I definitely try to put those boundaries in where I'm not always at my computer, because I could become a workaholic. Yeah. So I just can't. I have to put those boundaries in order to give myself fun, because I'm bad at not scheduling the fun.
Actually, that's really great. I like the way you said that. Give yourself boundaries to give yourself fun, because when I'm kind of like you. I could sit here and work all day, and it's a certain type of personality that we have.
Yes.
That we need to pay attention to that. So setting those boundaries for the fun is really great. I love it.
Right. And I think too, with setting those boundaries, it is that type of person that you could work all day. And I think it's because most entrepreneurs, it's your passion, right? So you find it fun. You're sitting there, you love it, but you still need that break from it.
You do.
So
you do. Yeah, no, that's a great way to put it. I love it. And so you're a systems girl, okay? You teach people how to streamline systems. So how do you use systems like time management in your business?
So my big thing is using technology in our favor. It's there for us, and just learning how to put them in so that it gives us that free time, because we have so much out there that there's a lot of stuff that we don't need to be doing. It's busy work. It's not actually the money-making work. Right. And it's something that I work a lot on with my clients. Yeah. For instance, one of my clients, he's very busy. He has 2 of his own businesses. He's president of his condo board. He has he's a director of tech for another company. He has a lot going on. And so I use it too. It's called Motion. And it schedules all of your calendars into one place. It helps you with your tasks. It prioritizes everything for you. And that's something that's a huge win. I used to spend so much time managing myself, scheduling myself, making sure I had everything in place. What is my to-do list today? Now that's a huge thing that's been taking off my plate and taking off my clients' plates, with me setting up that simple system for them and just managing it for them.
Right. I love it. Yeah. Notion is very, very popular.
Yes.
I think a lot of people are using it. Do you time block? Do you use any other techniques for time management?
Well, it kind of time blocks for you. So it'll schedule in all of your tasks, all of your projects. As long as once you set it up, it does all this, right? So it'll schedule everything in for you. And that's something that's been huge, because as long as I'm living by my schedule, and I also schedule in all my family activities, all my, even just time blocking for when my son is getting ready for school and me taking him to school, me picking him up from school. I block all my time off so that my calendar knows exactly when I have time to sit down, when I'm ready. It'll know when I can schedule clients for interviews and calls and different things. So all of that is handled.
Right. I love that. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
That's a great tool. Are there
Oh,
any other,
it's same.
sorry?
Oh yeah, no, it is great. Sorry.
Are there any other tools or apps or that you work with that helpful for you or your clients?
Well, I think there's quite a few. I think like depending on the business. So I am a certified esthetician. So I work with like more on the smaller side. I work with women who have home salons or businesses, just helping them set up workflows so that they can get their like book in appointments. Say for an esthetician, they might have like a client form they need to fill out. So I'll help them put all that through. Or Honeybook and Desabo. Those are really incredible systems for service based, like whether you're a photographer, virtual assistants. I used to use it, different things. I'll set up different workflows in there so that it, everything from the first touch point with the client to the contract to the payment to their client portal so that they can do their switch their credit cards out if they need to or something. Like I'll set up all those workflows. Like there is a lot, just depending on your business and your needs, how big you are, how small you are. There's a lot of different things, even with like sending out newsletters or something like that, using something like MailChimp or MailerLite, or just setting up simple workflows to send freebies and lead magnets. And there's a lot of great tools. It's hard to pick one, I find. I'm familiar with a lot of them, but hopefully that answers your question. I could go on forever about systems.
I mean, it's fascinating because I think as entrepreneurs, workflow is what we're looking for. We're looking for, simple ways to accomplish things, accomplish projects, and get things done. And when you have a system for it, and I think that frees up the brain, kind of, it leaves the brain for creativity, which is what we really want to do, right?
Yeah. And I think that's something like with my clients, like I think a lot of people are sometimes scared to hire a virtual assistant because they're so used to doing everything themselves. And one of the things I always tell people is like, first go through a week, write down everything you're doing. And then after that week's over, look at like in the morning, were you going through your emails? How much time did that take? You could set that off. That could be your first thing that you even give off to a virtual assistant, something so small, just going through your emails. And depending on, even like I have a lot of clients that sign up for like just a one-time setup, right? So I'll set up just like like a campaign for them, like a newsletter campaign or something, or just even show them how to use different workflows and stuff within email management and stuff. It's scary to give that to someone else. But I feel like once you have it on your plate, you're like, holy man, that was taking up so much of my energy, because lots of people, like I can sit here and I can talk about it all day and I absolutely love it. But lots of people, that drains them. Yes. And it drains them for the rest of their business. And then they're not able to grow.
That's a great skill that you have to help people. Workflow for entrepreneurs is so important.
Yes,
so, as a virtual assistant, how do you stay visible in your business? What do you do to stay visible in your business?
Well, one thing I've actually been doing, so in the past, I honestly struggled for a long time growing, but I was nervous and I was scared, and I'm such an introvert. I'm not a big... Like I'm scared to put myself out there because it's like, oh, I don't want to seem too pushy and I don't want to, come off as salesy and that kind of a thing. And in this last little while, I'm like, I've had jobs. That's one thing that my first client was from a company I worked with previously. I reached out to him because I knew he had a lawn care business. And I was like, would you mind letting me help you with your stuff? Do you need help? Right. And it just started off as a friendly conversation. Right. And he hired me on. And from there, I was like, I have other friends who have businesses. I started reaching out, and it wasn't me being like salesy and gross. It was just learning how to talk to people. And I did it through my friends first. And now I've noticed, especially with my Women in Business Collective, that's how I'm growing. That is, I'm networking with women. I will be in different platforms like School. I'm not sure if you're familiar with School. And I love it. So that's like one of my biggest places is I just go in there and I find topics that I'm interested in and I start chatting with women and, all of a sudden we get on a call and, we're vibing and I'm like, that's how it happens. And it happens naturally. My biggest thing is I think one-on-ones, I've started to learn more about myself is I might not want to, I've heard lots of people like, oh, networking, you got to submit applications to 10 podcasts a month and 10 of these a month and that. And I'm like, that's not me, but I love to sit one-on-one and really have a good conversation with someone. And it just happens naturally.
Yeah. No, and that's what networking actually is all about. It's having these authentic conversations, meaningful conversations with people that build relationships, right? And so you're doing that really well with your organization as well. And so,
thank you.
Given all that, you obviously you stay connected that way. Is there any other way that you stay connected with clients? I mean, are there any specific tools that you use to stay connected with clients? Like, do you use Voxer or do you use any other, or do you just simply use text?
So, yeah, I wish. So one thing I do wish I could get more of my clients liking is Slack. I do think it's a really great system and it's great for communication. Most of my clients prefer text, which it does work for us. We make it work. It's fine. But that is how we've been mostly communicating. With other women, it's a lot of email. I don't find I've had a lot of people who wanted to adapt to different systems when it came to communication. So especially with my clients, I don't like to I feel sometimes putting not a lot on them, I would say, but it's a learning curve for them, right? Because I'm like, oh, this is this new system. This is how we're going to start doing things. And they're like, okay, so that's already kind of overwhelming. So when it comes to our communication, I don't push too much unless it's a big problem, which I've never, ever had, kind of whatever works for them works for me. And so it's a lot of email, a lot of text messages, and I'm very close with my clients. They're all long-term clients. And for the few project works I do, it's usually through email just because sometimes it's easier than getting them to be on a system that they don't necessarily use all the time.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Love it. Love that. Yeah. So obviously you have a growing business, and do you have like a goal setting process? How do you set goals in your business?
So goals and me have had our on and offs here. With goals, I used to be someone who, and too, it comes from, I feel like who I'm following at the time, right? Like who are the people that I'm admiring and kind of aspiring to look at? Like Tony Robbins obviously is a huge one. He'll always inspire me, but his SMART goals, which I do, I think I unconsciously always go by the SMART goal rules. But I also was following a woman, she's a Canadian woman, Angie Belmar. And I followed her for years, and she came out with this really, really cute planner that was all about planning your goals. And basically you would plan your day based on your goals, which I loved the thought of it. But it was like, you need 10 goals and then you need action steps with the goals. So I kind of, every time I feel like I learn something, I adapt them in my own way to try and work for me. I'm not big on big long-term goals. Obviously, I have aspirations for myself, what I see myself in the future, but I feel like that's more of a manifesting than a goal setting type thing. But for instance, my membership, I want to grow it to 1,000 women. So every day I just make sure that when I look at my day, it's like, do I have things in my calendar today, action steps in my calendar that are getting me closer? I don't necessarily have a number, but as long as I'm working towards it and I'm doing the steps to make that happen, that's kind of how I set my goals.
I love it. I love it. I'm very similar. It's the action steps that get you to the goal.
Yeah.
People can set as many goals as you like, but if they don't take action, you're never going to get there. And I feel like so many people get lost in the planning process and then the little, like the whole goal, like the thought of the goal, you get lost in the process of it instead of actually being like, what do I need to do every single day to get closer to it? Exactly. I have I have a 90-day goals playbook, and
Mhm.
you end up creating 10 action steps for that goal that you work on
Mhm.
every day. And so
Yeah.
you've just explained that whole thing.
Well, okay, awesome.
Right on the same wavelength here. Another question for you is, how do you continue to grow as an entrepreneur? Like, what professional development do you do for yourself, or do you advise for others?
So I'm always reading. I have an Audible subscription. I'm always reading. When I'm in the car, I'm listening to a book. When I'm doing dishes, stuff like that. I love podcasts. I think podcasts are somewhat underestimated of like the quick little tidbits you can get from things. Um, but I very much follow my heart when it comes to courses and stuff. I don't necessarily always want to do a marketing course or something like, what was it, last year or the year before? I decided I wanted to start formulating my own skincare because I wanted to know how it was. It's a natural skincare course. And I took the course because I love it. I'm an esthetician at heart. That's what I started doing. So it somewhat is in my game, but obviously it has nothing to do with what I do. But I follow my heart. I always want to be learning, whether it's
Yeah.
skincare, wellness, business. I just
Yeah.
always want to be growing in any way I can. So I just follow my heart and I go with it. So I think if anyone ever considers like online courses, I think are going to be the game changer to how people learn compared to back, well, even when I was younger. You're supposed to go to university, like you go to college, go to university, you get a job, and this is how it goes. And I think like going forward, I think there's going to be some huge shifts on people learning online in courses and learning from other people who have really done it.
I totally agree with you. I think you're really onto something there for sure. And so, you have a favorite podcast you'd like to share?
Oh gosh, I have so many. Like I listen to Amy Porterfield.
Right.
Um, who else do I listen to? I actually found this one. It's more wellness. His name's Dr. Axe, I think.
Uh-huh.
That
Uh-huh.
one's quite good. He's got some different things.
Yeah.
Um, that'd probably be my two top ones that I'm listening to right now. But there's lots. Like I listen to so many, and even just fun ones too. I think sometimes it's good to listen to just have fun because I'm bad at
Yeah.
finding my fun, so I'll listen about like
Yeah.
right.
I love history. So there's one I listen to. It's called The Rest is History. It's fabulous. I
Oh,
love it.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, like it's just I gotta always remember because I will, like, I'm one of those people. I'll be on my treadmill and I'll be listening to like a book and I'm learning, and it's like I'm working too many parts of my body right now. I need to have fun up here and just do what I'm doing down here, right?
Yes. Yes.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So that leads me into the question of self care, okay, and work life balance. And it seems to me you've really got it worked out, but to know a little bit more about how you balance work and what do you do for self care.
Well, it's funny because like I hear that a lot. It's like, well, you got it all figured out. It's like I play it day by day. I've one miracle I have had in my life is when I had my daughter, because has been she has taught me so many lessons. Like me and my son, when I had my son, he's so much like me. We're routine people, we're scheduled people. He was such an easy baby just because we were so alike. And my daughter came around and me and her could not be more opposite. And she really runs this show. So like the one thing I absolutely love, and I'm learning more now that she's two, is like I've learned so many lessons from her of a more go with the flow. Your things are going to happen. You're going to flow with it. No one's going to die. Everything's going to be okay. Right? Nothing bad is really going to happen because I was always so rigid. So one thing, I always give myself grace. My job isn't life or death. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a surgeon. So if something, actually falls off my plate, I have tomorrow. And I try, like, I do find self-care is something that I find super important. That's why, like, one thing with the kids is like bedtime is 8 o'clock because it's mom's time. It's time mom gets to. And, I don't technically work every night. There's some nights that I don't need to. And those nights that I don't, I might just lay and chill and watch my Real Housewives, or I take a bath, or I sit and read. I'm very big on like my skincare. That's something that I really take the time to do in the morning. So I take my 15 minutes to really, because it's something that really like gives me energy, makes me feel good, wakes me up or puts me to sleep. Right. So I find people get so hooked on self-care in a way that it needs to be something expensive or something grand. And it's the little things I find throughout my day that really like give me that extra boost.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you on that. It doesn't have to be big, and but I love your words to give yourself grace. I think that's a beautiful thing, especially mom with, working from home and, life is happening around you in the moment, right? And giving yourself grace is a really great advice for entrepreneurs who are doing the same thing. And that leads me to my next question, which is, is there one piece of advice that you'd like to share with fellow entrepreneurs who work from home?
One piece of advice would probably be stay true to yourself. I think I was so caught up in what everyone was telling me to do for years that I was confused. It didn't feel aligned. It didn't feel good to me, especially with marketing myself. Everyone was be on social media. You got to post how many times a day. You got to be on all the platforms. You got to be on this and that. And none of that has ever aligned with me, and it never felt good. And I feel like it roadblocked me so hard. Yeah. So in the last year, and I think this is a lesson from my daughter, is just stay true to myself. Yeah. If it feels good, do it. If it doesn't, it's a no.
Yeah.
And I think that will really help, especially women. I think, we're the good girls, do what's right, do what you're told. I think just stay true to yourself and success will find you.
Yeah. No, I love that advice. I think that's brilliant advice for
Thank you.
So now I want you to share with us a little bit about your business, what you do, how people can connect with you, talk about your organization that you have. So share with us that.
So with everything that I do, you can find me on theabundantbrunette.com. So I have my virtual assistant business, which I help entrepreneurs putting in systems into their business. I help you manage the systems. I have different packages there to help with that. Mm-hmm. And then my big passion project, though, is Women in Business Collective. And it is my membership community for women in business so that you can network, collaborate, refer, and really have a home where you can ask questions and you can feel heard and you don't have to feel alone in this entrepreneurial journey. Mm-hmm. So that is probably like dear to my heart. I love to empower women. I love to promote women. I love everything about just empowering women to be their best and be financially successful and independent. So that would be my biggest thing. I love it.
Great. Well, we're going to put all of that information in the description below so people can connect with you. Okay.
Perfect.
Great. Well, Fallon, it's just been delightful to talk to you today. Thank you so much for being on the series.
Oh, thank you so much. This was so nice.
Yes, great. I'm glad that it really worked out for the both of us.
Yes. Incredible to meet you.
It always amazes me how entrepreneurs are constantly looking for ways to be more productive. And Fallon really showed us how setting up systems and creating that smooth workflow with a virtual assistant can be a total transformation for your business. I hope you took Fallon's work-life business advice to heart, because giving yourself grace, which is what she said, and going with the flow, which is what she said, is really something we all need to hear more often as entrepreneurs who work from home. And her one piece of really special advice where she says, stay true to yourself. That really stuck with me because at the end of the day, listening to your gut is one of the most powerful things you can do, especially when you're making countless decisions every single day. I love learning from Fallon today, and I hope you did too. So be sure to check out her passion project, which is called the Women in Business Collective, where she's bringing together a great networking opportunity for women entrepreneurs. You can find all those details in the description below. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.